Good evening, everyone. It is 6:30, and I just want to make sure we have folks that are actually coming on live onto the Zoom. So that's what this is a hybrid presentation tonight. My name is Dan McDowell, and I am the president of the Space Coast Progressive Alliance. And so if we look like we're scrambling a little bit, we are. And I do want to let you know that we are recording this, and we will be simulcasting this through our Zoom as well as on YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel is SCPA Brevard. So it's you get to go to YouTube and it's at SCPA Brevard. With that said, I do want to mention that Janice, who should be online with us now, is going to let people into the meeting as we proceed. So if we are scrambling, let me go ahead and take another minute here and say, welcome everyone. This is our first Thursday program. And I wanted to mention something because for those of you that may not know about SCPA, the Progressive Alliance, and we've been around for 20 plus years in the organization. I haven't been president for 20 years, about 20 minutes actually. But I do want to emphasize there's a whole list of things we believe in, we believe government in. But one thing I wanted to highlight tonight was we believe that government must follow a progressive foreign policy that seeks social justice, economic cooperation, peaceful conflict resolution, and economic justice for all world citizens. These goals will only be realized through multilateral cooperation and participation in international organizations and treaties. And tonight's movie is really a special movie for us to be able to present to you and be able to view it multiple times on our YouTube channel. I just wanted to say that it's right in line with the way most of our membership and board thinks and feels. With us tonight, we also have are asking for voluntary contributions. I'm getting good at this, asking for contributions lately. I was talking to somebody right before the meeting. But we are a organization that is, like many organizations, struggling to make ends meet. And whatever you can do, we greatly appreciate that. We do have snacks. I want to thank whoever was involved in the snack here, and Bonnie could probably touch on that when she comes up for a moment. But I do also want to make sure we allow for folks in the room to be able to speak on any community announcement. So is there anything that you in your community, will give you 1 minute to do that, want to mention? Red, is there something? Okay, if you don't mind, just so we can speak in the mic here.
Just hello, everyone. Just in line with the topic today, I just want to highlight one important issue that's just came to be on the surface. The name of the kid, Ibrahim. I'm sorry, Mohammed Ibrahim. He's a Palm Bay resident, a U.S. citizen. He was visiting his family in Palestine, and he's abducted, and he's in jail for the past 6 months. As a U.S. citizen, he should have the right to be represented by U.S. government, and hopefully we can see some actions on it. For the past couple of days, I just learned about it. Unfortunately, the family is not active, and they don't know what to do, but their son is there. His cousin, also a U.S. citizen from Tampa, was killed last month in the same town. So just U.S. citizens are treated same as there's no regard to their citizenship at all. So it's good to note that this person is from Palm Bay, and he's in jail in one of the toughest prisons in Palestine. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. I failed to also mention that we have a board of directors that I just quickly mentioned: Vice President Karen Houston, Treasurer Carol Becker, Bonnie is our secretary, which will come up in just a moment. Larry Abdullah is with us tonight in the back. Barbara Bingner, Bill McKay, and Janice Moran, who's online. Those of you that are online, a housekeeping item, can you please put your selves on mute so we do not get feedback from you out in the field? That would be greatly appreciated. With that said, I'm going to turn it over to Bonnie, who's actually managed this entire program tonight from beginning to end. So I do want to acknowledge that she's done. Stand up, Bonnie. Get yourself on screen. Say a few words, and you can launch us into the movie world.
Much, and thank you for being here. I mean, this is so important. I want to thank Caroline's mother for providing some lovely treats in there. In that room are free Space Coast Progressive Alliance t-shirts, help yourself. There is another person coming, but she's coming from Orlando, it's a little late, and she will have merch, Palestinian merch, like keffiyehs and stuff to sell. So watch for her coming in. It'll be in while the movie's running, unfortunately. I don't think I had mentioned that where this young Palestinian American is in jail is in Israel. And he's already lost 20 to 25 pounds. He's been incarcerated since February, and this is terrible. We need to get a link to you so you can sign a petition telling our government he's our responsibility. This is not political. Okay. The other thing I wanted to say is the reason why this is happening, this event, we're trying to choose a movie, is because my beloved rabbi, former rabbi, told the congregation that don't worry, your children in college who are demonstrated on behalf of the Palestinians just need to be straightened out a little bit. And that's why we're here. We're here to support the young man, Chris, who was actually arrested right there. He was arrested on a felony, which I understand has been finally reduced to a misdemeanor. Thank you. And some of us have seen the body cam and saw how absurd the original thing was. But we're here because it's hurting us to see the pain that Palestinians are going through every day. But these young people have been raised to know the difference between right and wrong. Somehow their parents forgot, but they know, and we need to support them, and we need to listen to them because they have a moral sense where others don't. Thank you, Chris. So that is my introduction to the film. If any of you are on the fence on this subject, please just listen and watch closely and see what you learn. It's a very, very good movie, The Encampments. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. And again, nice hand of applause. She did a stellar job. Okay, with any movie presentation, we do ask that you would silence your phones, please. Take a moment to do that. And if you do need to answer, if you can step out of the room and be courteous to the folks around you, just like the theater. Restrooms are back in the corner. Other than that, Art, I think we are going to do the movie, and then it'll be followed by a panel discussion. Okay? We are going to have a couple-minute break here for the folks to take a little stretch, and then we're going to get our panel going. So just in a couple minutes here, we'll get started. And for the folks that are online, I think what we're going to try to do, you may be better served if you have any questions for the panel or for the group, if you could put them in the chat. That might make more sense for us. All right, I failed to also thank the UUFF for letting us use the facility as well as their technology. So we greatly appreciate. We could not have done this without them. So if you can give them a hand of applause, I appreciate that. All right, we are going to open it up now. I have the privilege, the honor to introduce these three individuals that are on our panel tonight. And here on my immediate left is Marcus, which is the president of, and the name of the organization again is?
UCF Students for a Democratic Society.
Excellent. And the Vice President, Vanessa, correct? And then Raed is here, and I believe you're going to open it up first, and then have some opening comments, and then we're going to turn it over to the students and let them give their perspective. And those online, like I said, we're monitoring you. We can see you. We also see people are still coming in the waiting room. We'll let you in as well. And then if you have any questions, you can put them on chat. We'll go that route. But open it up with Raed, if you wouldn't mind.
Thank you. I just, first of all, I just want to thank you, Dan, and SCPA for their continuous support of progressive values that covers everyone, despite of their ethnic background or religious background or their suffering. So thank you. I thank you, Marcus and Vanessa, for joining us today. It's great to see the kid, the youth involved, and we saw 300 universities were in encampment. My daughter was in one of them, and she almost got arrested, but she got away with it, I guess. But she, and I'll bring that up at the beginning because when the on the other side they said that the Jewish students were attacked or they felt unsafe. My daughter had a death threat written on her dorm, and it was reported, and she was at Yale University. And it was reported, and the Yale University says that this is we allow freedom of expression. That was their response, literally. So, and I'm in public saying this, so they can. Second thing, I just want to show. I have I have my eye some infection. So if I'm not tearing, if I heard a lot of this stuff, so I'm tearing because I have an infection. So I don't want people to blame otherwise. As a Palestinian American, watching these movies is, of course, I live the emotion every minute. I've been going through it, and I would say the Palestinian cause right now is a defining moment in the world's humanity and morals. Period. When you see that many civilian killed on purpose, shooting at them, trying to get bread or trying to get flour, nothing more than that. And they're used as a skeet shooting practice and mowing them with machine guns. Every day there's about 100 people who get killed just looking for food. So, and the amount of people that died in Gaza so far is documented at 60,000. We don't know the one under the rebels. You've seen the explosions. And there's 200,000 total between dead and injured and maimed. If you I just give you an equivalency to the population of Gaza. If you take the same equivalency in the United States, it would be 35 million. Just think about that. So that's just devastating. And two things I just want to mention that was brought up and will continue to be brought up in discussion about this issue. The first thing is humanity watched this and this kind of scenarios in the past 75 years with what happened in the Holocaust. First of all, in the 40s, and we said, well, never again. Never again is a slogan that we took to heart, and we don't want to see anybody being burned, put in concentration camps, or treated like animals. That's what happened to the Jews. And we said, never again. Never again is a slogan for humanity, and not just Jews. Palestinians are also humans. So never again is for them too. We saw what happened in South Africa as an apartheid state. The whole world stood up for the South African people because they were treated by an apartheid system. And this is exactly what's going on. So when people claim that Hamas is doing this, you can just rebel and say, so why are you treating the Palestinian in the West Bank as animals? Why are you treating them as a second-class citizen? Why are you putting them in, and putting up a wall around them? So it's a system of apartheid. It's a system of genocide that the Israelis are doing. And we need to make sure that the second word of anti-Semitism is clearly debunked for everyone here. So as a Palestinian, and I'll put my money on the table right now, I will challenge any Israelis to do a DNA test with me. I will do a DNA test and let them do a DNA test. And we'll see who is more Semi, me or him. Period. I am a Semi, and I'm proud to be a Semi, so I cannot be against myself, anti-Semitic. The Zionism had done to Judaism what ISIS did to Islam. And the Jews need to clear themselves out of it. And I know we have a lot of Jewish people with, we saw them, we're proud of their stand. So definitely the Zionist movement and the government of Israel right now is the worst that there is on earth right now. And they announced today that they will be going into Gaza and they will occupy Gaza. I'm saying that they've been what have they been doing for the past 22 months? So they're going to go again. So it's just this Netanyahu is going to be just what the Nazis. He'll be remembered that way. And I'll leave it at that. There's a lot I can say, personal feelings about this, but I just want to say thank you for allowing us to watch the movie. And I'll turn it back to you then.
Thank you. And I'm sure we'll have some more comments for you, or some questions. And
Thank you.
let's turn it over to Marcus here, kind of share with you perspectives, or share your perspectives with the group.
Sure, just on the film in general, or
Whatever you like.
sure. So I guess I could talk a little bit about Students for a Democratic Society and what it is we do. We're a progressive grassroots organization. We're students. And what we do essentially is create campaigns so that we can better the lives of students on campus. Across the country, there's tons of STS chapters. Some notable things that have been done include fighting to increase Black enrollment, fighting for LGBTQ rights. As a matter of fact, I know the STS chapter over at FSU in Tallahassee, there was some drama with the administration and board of trustees trying to restrict LGBTQ students' access to student housing. And they stood up, they fought back, they held a protest, released a statement about it. And within a couple of days, the administration backed down away from that. And I like to use that example a lot because it shows that when we're in the face of adversity, that what we need to do is stand up and struggle against it, and not let our administrators get away with these things. Even when they press conduct charges against us, or even go as far as to press felony charges against us, suspend us and expel us, that we need to stand up and fight back against this because it's what's right. And when the status quo, the ruling class, when they hear silence, they also hear opportunity.
Thank you, Marcus. And Vanessa, you want to add?
Yeah, sure. I think that like with the encampments in our university, what we really learned from that is that like it's very necessary because in our universities we're seeing really like an erasure of history, of Palestinian identity and history. And it's not just our job as students to learn, it's also our job to teach our fellow students what they don't want us to learn, because education is such an important tool and it can either be used in service of oppression or it can be used, in service of liberation. And so a lot of what we try to do is educate and unite students to fight against injustice that we see on our campuses, directed towards us, but that we also see, harming students across the world and people across the world, and understanding that, we are a part of humanity and we need to fight for humanity. And that's the most important thing.
Thank you. if you have any questions, we will invite you to either, if you're comfortable coming up to the mic, you can whisper it over here to Bonnie, but we'd like to make sure that if you have questions, we will address them both here and for the viewing audience out there. Right, I did have a question though at the end there. It was hard to follow along the script there. Can you just kind of touch on what she was closing, what her closing comments is? You could feel her emotions in that.
Yes, and I know, what's your name? Leanne, yes, hi, Leanne. Leanne said that if you take the prompt from the bottom, there's translation in the back of it. We just could not see it. So for the next viewing, if we take that at the end, you'll be able to read what she was saying. But basically what she was saying is and I'll summarize because she really spoke from the heart. Her feeling with the kids, seeing all the encampments and the people, how they reacted to the dying of Palestinian in Gaza, they felt that there's a value for their death. She was equating.
It's all right. Take your time.
their life with just the people knowing the cause of their suffering. So they're seeing people that understand what the Palestinians are going through finally after so many years is worth them dying for it.
Wow. It was very powerful. How could you not be touched by that? That was very powerful.
Sorry.
No, I understand that. Any questions from the field? Otherwise, I'm going to ask a couple of questions of our students here as well. Oh, okay, quiet at the moment.
I'd like to just
Go ahead,
say,
Bonnie.
does anybody else? Bisan is somebody that you can watch every day on Instagram, the lovely journalist that sat there that Brian just told us what she said. She just had to watch her little niece die last week, who was burned and, of course, was so weakened with hunger that she could not survive the burns. And this is what's happening.
Well, I know that I was relating to when they brought that truck in there. I remember watching that live and thinking, this is not good. And I could hear the emotions in the audience here in the facility kind of feel that same tension. This was not going to end well.
Just to reiterate on this, because the media is a big part of how our emotion is developed. And unfortunately, you need to look for media outside the United States, period. It's not just the Democratic channels or the Republican channel. Fox and CNN are treating the Palestinian with no fairness. PBS sometimes covers. So you really have to look at other channels to educate yourself. It's horrible. It's horrific. The images that I see every day, because I'm connected with people it's horrific. It's literally, you see kids with limbs, and you see bombs coming in. And I'm gonna have to say something about October 7, because there is people who got hurt on October 7, and there's no need for that. It should have not happened. But just remember what happened before October 7 is important in this equation. Gaza has been under siege for 20 years. It just didn't happen out of the blue. So we need to just be fair to each other as human being and just, look at the whole scenario. The Palestinians welcomed the refugees after the Holocaust. They came in ships. The Palestinians welcomed them. Palestine had nothing to do with the Holocaust. Holocaust was done by Europeans. Palestine had nothing to do with it. And they were there. I'm from an area called Nablus in the West Bank, and I was born there. And we had in Nablus a small unity of Jewish people living with us, and we no problems. We were fine. There was lovely Christians, of course, Bethlehem and in Jerusalem. We had every kind of background, religious. There's no issues. When the Zionists came, turned this whole thing, and it's a European thing. That's another story, but the Palestinians had nothing to do with the Holocaust. So when you see the survivals of the Holocaust, doing something, same thing to other, same thing that happened to them. Now, it boggles me. I'm still don't understand why. So we'll see. Maybe one day we'll find out.
Thanks, Rod. I was going to ask the students where you're at today as far as the temperature, the tone, the temperament of what's going on in the setting. Is it civil disobedience? Students still feeling like they want to yell out? Can they yell out? Can they protest? What are the restrictions on you now? Whatever you can share with us.
I would say that we're seeing what a lot of universities has seen, which is that there is still a strong Palestine movement, but it has gone down a little bit. We actually, last semester, we had a rally for divestment. We had a press conference presenting a list of demands to our university that was well attended and well covered. So I would say the movement is still strong, and we're still building it every single day, learning from our struggles and fighting back against the repression that we do experience. And that as well, even though it can be a setback, it strengthens our movement when we fight and we win, and we show our fellow students that we can struggle and we will continue learning through practice. Another thing is that our university recently has announced that they'll be expanding their partnership with Lockheed Martin, the weapons manufacturer that supplies F-35 jets, among other things, to Israel. And so this semester, we're really going to be fighting back against that and pushing for divestment until we win.
Excellent. Thank you. Marcus?
Yeah, to speak on the restrictions part, I don't think it's a UCF thing alone, but it's really like a university, like Florida University thing. There's tons of restrictions on protests. For example, something that I thought was common for all universities in the United States was not allowing megaphones and things like that. But when we went to our first like SDS convention, we found out that tons of universities allow you to have megaphones and to be disruptive in that way. And to even like be on crosswalks where there is student traffic on campus. Technically, you're not allowed to hold a protest there to block traffic whatsoever, and that's a big part of campus because there's students on campus who go to class, right? Another thing that I thought was interesting was for a while we did what's called a study-in, where essentially it's simply just a bunch of students gathering together, wearing keffiyehs, hanging up signs in a library, and just peacefully, quietly studying while displaying pro-Palestinian messaging. And at the end of I think it was the fall semester, we did that for about two weeks, no issues whatsoever, and ended it. Next semester, we brought it back. And at one point, one of the administrators came to us and explicitly said, "Hey, what you're doing is okay. You just can't like tape the signs on the chairs." So we were able to still put the signs on the chairs, but just like in a way so that's not taped. And then about a week or two later, another administrator came to us, shutting everything down, saying that you can't have signs whatsoever displaying those Palestinian messages, saying that doing that, just sitting there quietly studying and lightly talking to each other was in and of itself disruption and inaction. And we were very confused by this. They cited this one like code of conduct, which when we looked it up turned out to be like 2 pages of different codes of conduct. And we asked to speak to the head of Office of Student Involvement, who's kind of in charge of all the clubs and protests and goings on among student life. And he came down and he pretty much explicitly said that he, along with members of the board of trustees or the administration and a lawyer, were on the phone for most of the night talking about how to shut down this little study-in where we weren't even disrupting or being a distraction to anyone, to be honest. And there's even one time where the only disruption or harassment that happened was when there was a group of pro-Israeli students who came over and harassed one of the students participating in the study-in. So there's very clearly a bias towards a bias in favor of students that support what the university supports. You know, UCF is a STEM focused school. We, just as Vanessa mentioned, they are expanding their 40-year long partnership with Lockheed Martin, a company made up of war criminals that make their money off of supplying arms to more war criminals. And they are also very quick to use those same code of conducts that don't apply to anyone else to squash any type of dissent that goes against how they make their money and how they want to funnel us as students. We don't, to be an engineering student, to be in STEM, you don't have to be funneled into the war machine. There are other opportunities that aren't involved in death.
Thank you both. And what we ask in Space Coast Progressive Alliance is typical of give us some action steps or some action items that we as a group can take away. So think about that for a moment. I'm going to ask Chris if you're comfortable making any comment, a couple minutes, just to kind of share your firsthand experience, and then we'll come back to those action steps. Okay, all three of you can give us some direction. But go, Chris, if you can introduce yourself, just it's oh, sorry about that. There we go. We definitely, if you can stand in front of the table so we can get you on the screen. There you go. Perfect. Is that all right if we?
I got any feedback? No, I'm not.
No,
Okay, cool.
you're good.
Evening, everybody. I'm Chris. I'm a UCF student. I am going for my bachelor's degree in information technology at the College of Engineering and Computer Science, which is the college at University of Central Florida that is the most deeply embedded in the war profiteering industry. It is very common to see my classmates kind of crossing their fingers that they get to work for the defense contractors because that's where the big money is. That is where the best employment opportunities are. And it's just generally it's an environment not necessarily conducive to organizing for Palestine. A lot of our representation comes from the humanities. So I like to champion myself as the only computer student who remembered how to read, because I am the one who I am one of there are a few, but I like to pride myself as the kind of person who likes to contextualize and philosophize how we use technology in the world. And it turns out the way we use most of the technology at UCF is to blow up children.
You're doing all right though. I mean, have you
Yeah.
been engaged? You've been involved in some firsthand experiences,
yeah.
and you're okay.
Yeah, I'll talk about that. Yeah, on October 7th, 2024, I was at a demonstration held by UCF Students for a Democratic Society and several other community-based organizations in Orlando in front of Orlando City Hall to coincide with a city board meeting that was going on that day, a city council meeting. You were in to speak at give public comment at the city council meeting, right?
I was one of seven,
Seven.
and they cut me off within 10 seconds.
I think they planned to cut people off as soon as they saw people walking in wearing their keffiyehs. So that day, I watched as Marcus and the rest and everyone else who had signed up to give public comment that day was escorted out by police as they tried to shut the door in our faces. And because I was closest to the door and did not back away from the door when they shut it in my face, I essentially put a target on my back for the police to come and arrest me. About 5 minutes after we had all retreated from the door, I was tackled by 4 Orlando Police Department officers. They stripped off everything I was wearing at the time. Not like that on my face at the time. So I wasn't wearing this exact hat, but I was wearing a hat that day. They took that. They actually ripped the glasses off of my face. They took them into evidence. They took them in as evidence. I didn't get them back until February of this year. And when I got them back, they were bent almost in half. One of the lenses had popped out. So on top of everything else, the city of Orlando owes me about $200 for new glasses. I didn't quite keep track of time. Must have been about an hour of maybe 45 minutes of sitting in a police van. Well, essentially, I learned later from body cam footage that they tried to figure out what the hell they could charge me with because I hadn't done anything. They drove me to Orange County Correctional Institution, where I stayed for 2 days. They didn't grant me bond until the second day, and then it took so long for the state to process my bond that I had to stay there until I think it was about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. They finally let me out.
All right.
Yeah.
These two were there. They know too.
But you're okay now, though. I mean, as far as they charge you and
Yeah.
you're okay now?
They took their sweet time charging me. From what I understand, the state of Florida has 180 days from your initial arrest to charge you with any kind of felony. And on the 179th day after I was arrested, they finally contacted my lawyer and said they were moving forward with felony battery charges. The decision they had finally made was they were going to claim that I had repeatedly struck the security officer that was closing the door. Anybody who's seen the footage, because we're eventually given the body cam footage and evidential discovery. Anybody who saw it can tell you that is not true. We tried to explain to the state of Florida that that was not true. And eventually it took from, I believe it was April when I was finally charged. It took until about 2 weeks ago for the state to finally offer a plea deal that was not some variation of pleading guilty to a felony. That came immediately on the heels of my lawyer, my very nice but very expensive lawyer, finally getting to cross-examine the officer I allegedly hit and poking many holes in his story on the count of I didn't hit him. He couldn't even possibly identify me as standing in front of the door that day. And eventually the state finally budged and said, we will allow you to plea with no adjudication to misdemeanor trespassing.
Okay.
In the interim, I was suspended from the University of Central Florida for two semesters. So this past spring and this past summer, for reasons that still I'm not quite sure about. I asked when the university gave their official determination, their party line essentially was, well, this officer says you hit him, therefore we must assume it is true. Therefore, you have violated the student code of conduct by being a danger to the public. And at one point, I did attempt to sue the university. I filed a motion for judicial review of the decision. That has gone on. That has been undetermined for so long that my suspension is up anyway. I'm free to enroll in the fall, so that was kind of pointless.
That's the main thing is you're okay now, right?
Now I'm okay.
Okay, so I think it's important because we've got about a couple minutes here left, and I want to get these action items in. But any questions of Chris? I'm sorry, we have a question from the field. Oh, okay. I just want to make sure that we get.
Someone was raising their hand.
Oh. But thank you, Chris. I appreciate you sharing that story. And boy, that's not something that.
Yeah, I saw that video. You didn't get anywhere near them. I just want to say that as we see, Khalid went to jail. We see so many people deported into horrible prisons for protesting against Palestine. So at this time, we see it's a bellwether for stopping all protests. The allegiance with Zionists is just a convenient method to stop all protests, a prelude to stopping all protests in this country, and they're just the low-hanging fruit. But also, I have to say the horrors that I would see every day. Democracy Now! Every day, it's like they've dropped an atomic bomb on Palestine. The devastation that you see and the starvation that is obvious, and who knows how many people have really died there under the rubble.
Right. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate that. Let's go ahead and Marcus, if you want to start us off with if you have any action items for us, and then turn over to Vanessa, and then Riot, if you can close this out, and then we'll conclude the program for tonight.
Absolutely. Real quick, I wanted to add onto what Chris is saying and emphasize that he was suspended from UCF before the felony charges were even filed. I wanted to emphasize that. So UCF quite literally presumed guilt over innocence. Just wanted to add that in real quick. In terms of action items, I think the main takeaway from this is to get organized. If you're here as an individual and you're not a part of an organization already, join an organization. There's there's tons of power as you as an individual coming out to these protests, to these actions, to these city council meetings, and speaking your mind, but doing so as a part of a collective and combining your energy with others is truly what helps us move history forward and create changes that are genuinely progressive and best for the whole of us as people.
Excellent. Thank you, Marcus. Vanessa?
Yeah, I would definitely just echo that as well. Also, definitely donate to Palestine if you can. There's this great organization called Healing Our Homeland that gives food to Palestinian people and they distribute. So definitely donate to an organization that gives aid as well. And just attend an action near you. And if there's no action near you, then start one.
Excellent. Thank you. Great advice.
Thank you, Vanessa. Just for me, we need to continue to talk about the core of our values as Americans. We are proud to hold the best democracy in the world, but we need to define that truly, because our democracy right now is tainted by the lobbyists and the influence of money. So there's a lot of money now involved in our democracy. And the longer we continue to ignore what Chris was talking about and what you guys talking about, our divestment in war or, in other industries, the lobbyists in our democracy are making the calls right now, not the voters. That's the reality. The donors, the one who are having PACs, and we have a lot of PACs right now. So look into PACs and understand how democracy is being made in Washington, D.C. You pay, you will pass through. You don't pay, you're not going to go. And that's not true democracy. So educate yourself and start exposing these issues.
Thanks, Rod. I understand we have a quick question before we conclude.
Yeah, we're allowed another minute or two. I do want to say, as far as local groups, if you know of any that people should be aware of, I know Partners for Palestine is one that was here when we showed Israelism. They helped us do that. I belong to Jewish Voice for Peace, but that's not a local. I think there's something in Orlando, but we do need to find out what people can join right here. And I can't tell you the answer. Kasha's.
Thank you.
I was just going to mention that before everybody leaves, there are some flyers out there for different organizations. Definitely follow SDS, Partners for Palestine organization I'm with, Vets Against the Machine, Orlando for Peace. All of those different organizations have representation here tonight. And as everybody speaking said, there's power in the collective, and so that's why
absolutely. And for those that are online, because there's quite a few people that are online, they cannot see you. So who can you say again your organization?
Sure. Yes, my name is Kosh with Partners for Palestine, which is a Florida-based organization, but we exist in various cities, have a lot of members. And I'm also a part of a collective in Orlando of various organizations called Orlando for Peace. We have representatives from Amnesty International, for example, here. The chapter president is actually in attendance. We have representatives from Veterans Against the Machine, which is also a veterans organization. And obviously the Space Coast Progressive Alliance, which has made this possible, SDS, which is at the table, and the wonderful members of the Divest Coalition and at UCF and the students that are fighting for that cause as well.
Well, that's an excellent way to close this out tonight. I do want to say thank you to all of our panelists tonight, the movie, Bonnie, you knocked it out of the park here. Thank you to the UUFF. Thank you to the folks in the room here. Our next event is scheduled for November, but we yes, Bonnie.
How about Pride? That's coming up next, and
Right, September 27th.
Marching with them
is the Space Coast Progressive Alliance will be marching. Come join us. There's plenty of room. Anything else? Any other announcements there, Bonnie? Anyone? Otherwise, if we can give a hand of applause here again for everyone.
Bonnie, thank you for putting this together. You did great. Thank you.
And we are on time again. Thank you, UUF, and thanks everyone for coming, and drive safely home.
Thanks.